Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday's Talking Town. That was, of course, a goal of the month for October for our friends at Trimley Red Devils. The live poll to vote on the goal of the month is now active on our YouTube live chat. You have A, B, C, and D. If you want to go for goals E to F, please leave a comment in the chat. Currently, goal A with 43% is winning. We did September last week, October this week, November next week. And we'll finally, may have caught up. Obviously, this is your show to preview Plymouth, but it's also our first proper show since the signing of Broadhead was confirmed, Hurst was confirmed, the Burnley tie was announced, Cambridge tickets literally selling out within moments. Like Willy Wonka's golden tickets, that's what they are. So we're going to try and run through a number of items while also it being Christmas Eve here in the Gov household with baby number 2 due tomorrow. We're going in for our induction at some point. Last one induction, I think, was at Tesco's. That didn't go quite as well. So this one goes better. But all the same, I'm looking forward to it. Bit nervous. Well, have anyone ever seen that GIF with Thomas Skinner? I'm a bit shaky, a bit nervous. It's roughly how I feel roundabout now. And I probably should have started the show with this week's latest TikTok sensation. What's the best shop in Wakey? Wakey Wines. If you know the rest, put it in the chat. I think it's Abdul Come Closer. Abdul Go Back, is it? Gala Bingo Gala, something like that. It's on TikTok. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. And how much the prime bottles reportedly being sold for. Good evening, Philip Blundell. I hope you are well. That was my attempt to try and be sort of down with the Alex Griffin viewership that occasionally watch us. I'm now not my dad at a disco, so I'm just going to stop talking, I think. Finch's Rest Cemetery. Almost sold out. Was able to get one high in the cobbles tonight. Halfway line about 4 minutes ago. I think you talked about the Plymouth game. It is, of course, sold out. Welcome in, Still. We have a new YouTube member. One Love, One World. Love that. Thank you ever so much. And totally agree. One Love, One World. And thank you for becoming a YouTube member. You can follow the fantastic lead by hitting the join button on YouTube. Head into Ko-Fi. Signing up. $4.99 a month, 2 tiers on Ko-Fi, 2 tiers on YouTube. Choose your tier, choose your package, get access to the Discord 24/7 365. So busy that even I lose track of it, and I'm supposed to be running it. Philip Blundell said, Plymouth have made some signings too, but are they as good as Town signings? That's the question we've all got to come for. $8.99 from Josh Russell. I appreciate that, buddy. Thanks ever so much. Obviously, you've got a kid on the way yourself, so I appreciate the support you just put into the chat there. Put it towards the baby gov. Here's to promotion. Absolutely looking forward to it. Mike D. Oh, you had to go and lower the. Oh, Mike. Oh, Michael. Michael. Oh, you've done your. Oh, I thought I had an iron stomach. You've done me. Lionel Von Rock. Alex Wilson.
You're not going to play amazing football every game.
Save me. How are you, sir?
All good.
Good man. No, I don't want any placenta for lunch tomorrow. Thanks so much. Is it keto? Who knows? Hey, everything's got to be great on the old keto diet these days. I've lost 2 stone,
Can I say you're looking trim, mate?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Pay you later. Josh Ross. Oh, yes, Prediction League. Thank you very much. I did look before we went live. Didn't see it. But thanks so much, Matt Stannard. Give lots of love for Matt Stannard in the chat. There is your Prediction League. I haven't played it myself yet. Alex, I've got a little update from the legend that is Benny Moore. All right.
Yep.
I was going to read it out. Obviously, Ben has been going through some treatment, etc. And we all here at Talking Town are right behind him. We're with him every step of the way. There is some merch on the way to him. Not that probably won't cheer him up, to be fair, but I tried my best. I haven't designed. Actually, maybe I should get George Nunn to design a bespoke piece.
Yeah, definitely.
Exclusive Ben Moore range.
That would sell out in minutes.
Days.
As let's get into that. We're going to have that conversation in a little while.
Absolutely. So this is he's in the chat. Doesn't mind me sharing this. This is what he sent me. So on Thursday, I returned home to Ipswich to be moved for Bloods. and anything else, Ipswich Hospital. We'll start my second round of chemo on Tuesday. So be on the Summersham wards. So send all the love, hearts. He doesn't say this. I say this bit. All the love, hearts, roses, chocolates galore to Summersham. Just don't do it by Royal Mail. I'm also hoping to be there on Saturday, all masked up and taking care of myself. I'm also hoping to be able to be at the statue. Thanks for all the support. Love you all. Blue hearts in the chat for Ben Moore. Great news, though, right? From the legend that is Benny Moore.
Absolutely. You know, Ben's an absolutely amazing lad, you know, and one of the absolute best. Complete pleasure to see him. You know, the matches, knows his stuff, is passionate about this club and where we're going. So from everyone at Talking Town, mate, you know, get well. We want to see you back, and you know, you're an absolute legend. Keep fighting, bud.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. We can try and, you know, train Josh up on the camera as much as I can, but he's no Ben Moore.
He's no Benny Moore, is he?
He's no Benny Moore. No, his hands are just all over the place. You know, Ben is steady. He's a rock. He's the Jason DeVos of the Talking Town world. But all jokes aside, Ben, we're with you. We're standing with you. And if anything we can ever do, you know where we are. Lots of blue hearts in the chat. We mentioned sending out in minutes. Before I bring in our next contributor, obviously Cambridge tickets. You blinked and you missed them. They were the Willy Wonka of the golden tickets of the footballing world. Did you get any? Did you try and get any?
No, I personally wouldn't have done, you know, because my circumstances, if anyone doesn't know, you know, sort of being in a wheelchair, from what I've heard, Cambridge's sort of disabled provision is not the best. So I personally didn't try, but you know, I've seen the outcry, shall we say, but I've also heard a couple of things. I've heard something today that I don't know how true it was, but you know, I've heard that we've got more gold card members than, you know, there were tickets available. I've also, and this is a bit, I don't know how true it is, I've also heard on the grapevine today that somebody forgot to put the criteria on, so there was someone that wasn't a gold card member that managed to get one. How true that is, I don't know.
Unconfirmed. Do not know anything about. I've not heard that, but I'm not online much these days. Obviously, with a wife that's about to span the next generation.
I am of the, you know, the opinion that I think is shared by a lot of fans. I think there needs to be something more put in place so that fans that, you know, make a point of going, you know,
it's almost closest game. Like I'm surprised there's been as much uproar as there has, because I expected this very thing. It's like playing. It's like not in the fixture, not in the size of the fixture, not in the because it's a derby. It's like it's your close you're going to get to League One playing Norwich, because it's the proximity. Like literally, I went to Cambridge. I want to say last year, but I should remember it was an awful
year
experience.
Before.
Regardless, your brain blocks out awful experiences. But Paul Cook was in charge. This must be last year. And, you know, I blinked and we're there. I've never been to an away day where literally you blink and you're there. So I'm not surprised it sold out in the manner it did. Matt Stannard says Cambridge tickets showed how shite SeatGeek was, managed to get them, but man, it was hard work. Maybe a priority system where if you go to a certain number of away games, because there are Bristol Rovers tickets left. They want to sell today, I believe. And
I mean,
they won't sell as quickly, you'd imagine.
No, I do get it. You know, it's an easier game for people to get to. But I do think for possibly, you know, games like that where you're in your smaller grounds that haven't got the, you know, the same amount of allocation, you know, that something needs to be, because it just doesn't sit quite right with me that someone that goes.
I agree. I do agree with that. Yeah, like Ashley here, who's been to every away game. You know, if he didn't get one, he'd be angry, and I agree with him. You know, if he didn't get one, but say I did, who've never set foot outside of Suffolk this season.
Because again, for whatever, you know, for my personal circumstances, I'm going to be one of those fans that only go to one or two. Like I'll only go to like MK because it's a proper ground.
Derby.
It's a proper ground opportunity. Yeah, Derby. I'll try and get to Derby because I've been to Derby before. But you know that I've been to Derby a couple of times. You know, and like I've been to Wigan. So for me personally, it is the odd away game that has got, you know, in the more modern stadiums that
Derby's very modern.
That I'm able to go to, you know.
It's got a Greggs. Any stadium's got a Greggs is modern. Let's be honest. It's no Portman pie, obviously. But there we go. Right, that's Cambridge. They've sold out. Let us know in the chat if you managed to get them. Let us know if you've got any suggestions as to what the process could have been. I've seen a number of sort of priority letters. Probably agree with that, which is how they did the Norwich tickets back when we had a derby. Do you remember those days? Do you remember them? Do you remember them? That's how old I am. You know, I can tell my children we had derbies once. But yeah, let us know how you would have gone about doing it, because it was always going to sell out in record time. Now we are lucky to be joined by another legend this evening, and here he is, Lewis Rapstar Robertson.
That'll be with part.
It's the Rapstar Lewis Robertson. How are you, sir?
Good, thanks, chaps. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm good. I'm good. Cambridge, very quickly, did you get them, or did you try, or did you not even bother?
I didn't get them. I didn't try, but I am a gold card member. I have a solution that I think they should have probably taken into consideration that's maybe slightly different to what you chaps have said.
I'm all ears. Not literally.
So I think that they, for whatever reason, they underestimated when they were selling gold memberships in the summer the demand for away tickets, and I think they were wrong to underestimate the demand given the great figures we had last season for travelling fans. And I think this situation was always going to present itself eventually, where gold card members wouldn't necessarily be able to get a ticket. And as Alex said, you know, I have a gold card and I bought it a few years ago and have just renewed it each year on the proviso that I don't get to every away game. But when I do want to go to a away game, I want to give myself the best chance possible of being able to get a ticket. Now, if they were to kind of move the goalposts halfway through the season, kind of goes against what they advertised, in that you will most likely be able to get a ticket. So if they then started to implement a point system, having said that, I absolutely think, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't even try to get a ticket, there are people that are far more deserving than me who haven't been able to get a ticket. And what I mean by that is people that have been loyal, that have gone to every game. You know, I speak to Colin regularly. I speak to Matt Stannard. I speak to Rich. I know they go to away games far more than I go to. And I would far rather people like that get the tickets than someone like myself. Now, that's just my personal take on it. Each to their own. I don't think there's a right or wrong solution. If, and I'm pretty sure we won't be, but if we are still in League One next year, we absolutely need to revise in the summer how it's done, so that if I were to renew or purchase a gold card for next season, I know that there are certain games where I may not get one regardless of whether I've got a gold card, because it's done on that priority basis. But another thing that I thought about whilst you guys were chatting, the Bristol Rovers tickets became available today. Why did they not start by saying, okay, we are going to sell them as a pair? So to gold card members, as a pair, you purchase a ticket for Cambridge away, you purchase a ticket for Bristol Rovers away, set a deadline, and then they go on sale individually.
Smart Ashton for you, mate.
That's a great question, though, isn't it?
It's the sort of thing they need. It's a great idea, because it was so close together that you could have certainly.
And then the people like I don't know, like Colin, like.
Whoever.
Rich, Matt Stannard. If I start naming some people, I'll miss others, because I know that there's a hell of a lot of really loyal followers of Talking Town that are also followers of Ipswich Town and go to away games. So I probably shouldn't name some, but they're the people that I regularly are in contact with, and I know that they go above and beyond to get to every single Ipswich game that they can. But like I say, I just think by selling them as a pair, that would have kind of then... Look, if someone had no intention of going to Bristol Rovers but wanted to go to Cambridge, okay, they're going to have to fork out 50 odd quid. But, you know, that's the commitment they're making. I suppose what you wouldn't want then is a load of empty spaces on the terraces at Bristol Rovers. But I'm sure people would take those tickets if they suddenly sold out of those because everyone was trying to get Cambridge tickets. I just think it's an opportunity missed. And from the challenges that people like Matt Stannard, because he was quite vocal about the challenges he had in terms of the booking system as well, I think the club will move away from that particular platform. I don't know when the contract's up with them, but
we might finally lose the $1.99 bloody booking fee as well.
I know.
It drives me up the wall. That is like, every company does it though with tickets, and it absolutely boils my piss.
Exactly. And it's most of the time it's print off at home or have on your app anyway. It's not actually postage, is it? So
it ain't, and it ain't cheap printing ink these days.
Just building on your point, Lewis, about the thing about acknowledging that you're probably not going to get a ticket for some game. I think it's possibly hard to make, because I think as well a lot of it will depend on how we're doing as a club. Take, for example, if we all get to where we want to be this year, obviously our last game is Fleetwood away. Everyone's going to go to Fleetwood away. But if we were having a season like we had last season, for example, where we've got nothing to play for by that point, no one's going to want to go to Fleetwood away. No, let me rephrase that. A lot fewer people are going to want to go to Fleetwood away in those circumstances than they would want to go in the circumstances we're hoping to be in. So I think, I think there's always going to be an element of the amount of away support we get is going to be dependent on, because you're gonna get your real hardcore element that will go to every, and applaud those those guys and girls that do that, but you'll also get those guys that want to be part of certain moments, so they may only go to like Fleetwood away, for example, because it's like they want to be there for the party. So I think they've got to be really careful about that, and I don't maybe plan for every scenario.
Well, you're talking about Fleetwood, just to throw in the mix as well. If the worst happens, I suppose there is an alternative worst, but we won't even imagine that. But if the worst happens for this season where we currently are and we do make the playoffs rather than automatic promotion, then if we get Bolton, Barnsley in the playoffs, we should be fine in terms of away allocation. And obviously we filled out the Reebok as it was then before for a championship playoff final or Division 1 playoff semi-final. If we get Wickham away, which isn't too far to travel, their away ground, the away stand isn't massive. I went there last year. That could be carnage in terms of people trying to get tickets, and they're going to have the exact same issues for a game of that size. And you can imagine as well that local Wickham people, possibly kind of the casual supporter, they're going to turn out. So it's not even going to be a case of being able to buy a ticket in the home end or anything like that. So it is an issue. It's something that potentially needs addressing. However, I would hope by next season it's not so much of an issue.
It shouldn't be, because most of the stadium in the championship is obviously, for like four sides to figure Oxford.
Just think, 4 years' time, we'll be packing out the San Siro again in Europe.
Exactly. So. And then Monday night, Oxford fans are calling Arsenal fans boring, and I just thought that was
even that point you've just made there about Wickham and trying to get.
You're living in fantasy land here, guys, because there's no playoffs going to be anywhere near Portman Road this summer, so I'm not worried.
Again, from what I've heard, Cambridge are even wide to that, because I've heard that people have tried to go on and get a ticket in the Cambridge.
Because they talk about it on social media. And you laugh when you see that, Alex, on Twitter. I might try the home end. Well, I think the whole Bill might have just looked at that.
Place whereby you've got to be a card member at Cambridge and have used them before to buy a ticket. So.
Don't worry about it, gentlemen. Don't worry about it. Right, Burnley, cup tie. We are everyone's cup final. So let's talk about the cup tie. That's being drawn. Burnley at home. We might finally get the couple stand opened up from the start. Hey, Mark. How are we feeling, boys? Is it a good enough tie? Is it a great tie, bad tie, indifferent tie? How are we feeling? I want to take the matter. Lewis, go on. You go first.
I think it's a really good tie. I mean, it wasn't one of the glamour ones that, on paper, when the draw was being made the other night, he kind of sat there and looked at the different numbers. And I personally would have quite liked Spurs away, just to go to Spurs' new stadium. But
lovely. You'd really like it
if I could have got a ticket.
Loads for the Spurs away.
But yeah, when Burnley came out, it was a bit like, oh, Burnley. But actually, when you think about it, They're top of the Championship. They're running away with it, them and Sheffield United. They are most likely going to be a Premier League team next year. They are further ahead of the chasing pack than ourselves, Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday, as in there's more certainty on Burnley getting promoted than any one of us three in League One because of the gap they've currently got. Got a good manager. I was a bit sceptical when Vincent Kompany took over, but he's done a really good job. Got some really exciting players, and it will be a real test. But it's at home. They're beatable. It's a good opportunity for us to really pitch ourselves, because I think Rotherham are not the same team as they were, and I think quite a lot of people have said that under Paul Warne. They're not the same entity as they were previously. So I'd probably class them as a kind of Championship team fighting for their lives, and they're kind of above the line at the moment because of the great start they had, ironically, under Paul Warne before he left. So that's kind of testing yourself against probably a bottom six Championship team. This is testing ourselves against a top two Championship team and a top two by some distance Championship team. And I really think that if we can get the place rocking, it's a real opportunity for the players to go out there and perform. And look, there's every opportunity for us to get a result, and then we can get one of the big boys. Or if not, it's just a good opportunity for us to gauge where we're at. Obviously, the last thing any of us would want is a replay, same as on Saturday, because I don't think we need any added distractions. But I think we can go there fully confident, and I hope there's a good crowd as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Got David saying no chance of beating Burnley. We're not that good yet. Budgie saying God won't Burnley be off for the top tier for the FA Cup. Well, that's not always the block B though, is it, Budgie? Which is where I sit. I don't care about the rest of the blocks. Just block B. Paul P. Joe, I was literally looking at I was literally 5 yards from my chair at Rotherham. It was beautiful. I was almost tempted to just jump in it, and then someone sat in it. Paul P. It will give us a good idea of where we are. This is a much better tie for me than when Rotherham was drawn, Alex. Great points from Lewis, great points from the chat, just to sort of neatly sum it up in a nice little bow. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy. I'm happy with it. I think it gives us another opportunity. If we're not going to go on the big boys, I'll always take someone in the league above us just to sort of establish where we are. And you can't even underestimate playing a team like that to give McKenna a chance to sort of have a real in-depth look at them, which you know he will.
We will.
And sort of, it almost puts it in his head as to maybe even looking forward to the summer, about where he may want to look to bring, to compete with teams like that, where we may need to strengthen. So, I'm all for it. It's the FA Cup, so anything can happen. You've only got to look at Newcastle, that went out in the third round. So
yeah,
for me, but I'm 100% with. I want it done by 5 o'clock on that Saturday. I don't want to be, I don't want to be playing a replay at that, But I think, and it's quite nice that he's against like someone like a Vincent Kompany, an up-and-coming manager that's probably from the same school of thought as Kieran McKenna.
They won't put the bus, that's for sure, will they? They won't be scared to come here and play.
It'll be a good game between two good footballing sides.
Totally. Yeah, completely agree. We've got 210 people watching, over 200 on YouTube. Harps has laid down the gauntlet. He says, smash a like or Plymouth will beat us this weekend. You don't want to run that risk. You don't want to run that risk, people. So if you are a Town fan, if you're one of the many watching that are Town fans, I imagine you all are. There might be a few Plymouth fans trying to, get the goss, but hit a like button. Otherwise, you may be letting the side down. Don't want that, do you? He also says we definitely play better football against footballing teams. Josh Russell, welcome back to having your name in green, becoming a YouTube member again. Welcome home, Josh. Your link to the Discord is on your community tab. Burnley's a great test for us, a big chance to see where we are at. Good points. Love it. Right, Burnley. Plymouth this weekend. I'm not going to show the league table because it's not first versus second anymore. Bloody should have been. It's first versus third. A chance to go back into second, a chance to close the gap on Plymouth, who are currently your League One leaders. Obviously, Wednesday play as well, so they could win and you won't go back inside the top 2. But you have to control the controllables, as Richard Moss would tell us all. So what are our thoughts heading into it, gentlemen? Plymouth this weekend at home, sold out, restricted view tickets left. Alex, let you go first on this one as Lewis went last time. What are your thoughts as we head into the weekend?
I think it'll be a really tough game. I do. I think it may be the odd goal will nick it, but I'm certainly a lot more confident after, Monday night, Sunday, Monday with George Hurst and Nathan Broadbent coming in. It just for the viewpoint that we've now got options that if we need to change it, we can. You look at Plymouth haven't got their captain in a week against us because he got sent off against Bolton.
He did, yeah, you're right.
They haven't got Whittaker in their side, so it's not going to be an easy game. But I'm a lot more confident going into it with just having that depth available now. That if we need it, we've got it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think it's a game we need to win just to sort of reel. I think the pressure's on us because it's our home game, and we need to, if we're serious, we need to reel Plymouth back in. And obviously, we can only do what we can do. So I think it's a high stakes, high pressure game for us. But I think we've got enough quality to be able to do it.
Come 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon, Lewis, when we are stood at the statue doing our live post-game show, it will either be 4 points, 7 points, or 10 points. The difference between us and them. Is it a must-win? Is it a must-not-lose? What title would you assign to this fixture?
I would say it's the biggest game we've played since we've been down in League One.
Okay.
I'm fully confident. Putting a label like must win on a game in January doesn't sit right to me personally, in that we may not win on Saturday, but I still think we could overtake Plymouth. I think what we've done in the last week is demonstrated that we are going to have the firepower that we have lacked over the last month or two. Injuries, illness, whatever it may be. And I know you've talked about not making excuses, but there have been a number of different factors, and we haven't had that firepower. We've brought that in and more, I would have said, in the last week. We've really strengthened. I'm not too concerned about what Plymouth have done in the window. Yes, they might have done good business. Good luck to them. I think, as I've said many times throughout this season, it's all about us and what we do. And I'm fully confident we'll turn up on Saturday, full crowd behind us. Notoriously, we haven't turned up on those big games when we've had a packed out Portman Road. But I'm really confident. I think we want to make a statement. And I think if we close that gap to 4 points with the firepower that we've brought in, we are going to chip away at that gap. So I don't think it's a must win. I think we will win. But even if we don't, even if it is a frustrating game, we've got to keep our heads up. We've got to keep the faith. We've got to keep behind this. Everyone's been crying out for new signings. We've all talked about different strikers and their flaws and what we've been lacking. They've gone out. They've addressed that. Kieran McKenna's got the tools he needs. I think we just have to get behind it. And look, I don't think we'll be 10 points adrift. But if we are, got to knuckle down. Just got to go on to the next one. We've got to chip away at it again. But like I say, I'm fully confident. I don't think we've got anything to fear. I don't think we had anything to fear in the away game. And I think we'll be closing that gap to 4 points. And it doesn't really matter either what Sheffield Wednesday do. It's all about us. And we beat Plymouth. That could be the springboard we need with those new players, with people returning from fitness and illness. I think we're going to have a really good 5 months.
Okay. I'm going to obviously come on to the new signings in just a moment, but you mentioned that fixture there where we lost 2-1, took the lead live on Sky, ended up losing the game 2-1. Now, we know about Plymouth losing the players they've lost and bringing in the players that they've brought in this window, but those aside, are we a better side now, Lewis, than the side that played Plymouth the first time?
On paper, but nothing's won on paper, is it? We've got. I do think we need a degree of patience with both Broadhead and Hurst, in that it might take them a few weeks, games to adapt. Kieran McKenna plays in a certain style and way, and they're going to have to adjust to that. But I think we've got strength and depth, and I would say our overall squad is stronger. Can't remember off the top of my head exactly who played. Seem to think Jackson played off the right and Ladapo played through the middle away at Plymouth.
Correct.
I actually think in that Plymouth game, we went in. I think we went in 1-0 up, didn't we? Ladapo scored. It was a slightly fortunate.
No, beautiful goal. He meant it.
Well, he got himself in the right place, didn't he? And he got that little bit of luck that he hadn't had up until that point in his town career. But I actually think for 15 minutes at the start of the second half, we really, really had them on the ropes. And then the equaliser changed the game and they just grew and you could see it was coming, the second goal for them. But I think we contained them for the first 45 minutes and then we really kicked on and they struggled to contain us for the next 15. And then the last half an hour, they wrestled it away from us. So I don't think there's anything there to be fearful of. I think we are stronger probably on paper. But like I say, I would call for a little bit of patience with the new signings as well. If George Hurst doesn't hit the ground running, let's keep behind him, not get on his back and start criticising him and saying what a waste of time.
I'll criticise him already, son. Don't worry about that one. I won't hold back on that. The person who can convince me otherwise is Mr. George Hurst. Ross Robertson, I'd say we definitely need the win Saturday and we'll get it. I'm confident we'll get promoted too. I'll revisit as a second, Ross. Norman, Plymouth have only won one of their last 7 away games. They're a different proposition away from home. I know Bolton fans are disappointed not to win last week. PAFC Dome, as a Plymouth fan, I think your defence will struggle against our offence, whilst I believe our defence can cope against you lot. Okay. All right. Confidence. I like it. Mike D. Bolton should have beaten them last week. We need to take our chances. Stephen Parry, they are stronger on paper, but are they stronger on paper? Think they are weaker. Paul P. We need to get at them from the off. We are so much better when we start on the front foot. Now, on the last league game, the bench was Hladky, Keogh, Vincent Young, Humphreys, Edwards, Chaplin, Ladapo. Obviously, Jackson played alongside Aluko. You've got 3 new signings to feature. I'm going to put that graphic on the screen just so it's a bit more clear for those at home and for those with me. So, comes on in terms of isn't on the bench in layman terms.
So who moves out of the squad?
Who drops out? Thank you very much. Yes. Who drops out of the squad? Yes.
Do you want to go, Alex?
Whoever.
Keogh for me.
You got 3 to feature, possibly 3, could be 2. Who knows? Who's dropping out? So you got Keogh dropping out. That's 1. You got 2 others because this is the sort of situation McKenna find himself, which is good. We all wanted him to be in. But who doesn't quite make the grade for you at the moment?
Do you want me to go, Alex?
Yeah.
Hopefully if Edmondson's back, I'd have him on the bench instead of Keogh. Hopefully Davis is back. So I would probably have Lee on the bench and move Vincent Young. I'd probably say if you've got to bracket people at the moment who, based on the new signings and the players returning, are at risk, I'd say KVY, Keogh, and I would also, in general, with his town career, I feel it's at a bit of a crossroads. I'd say Kyle Edwards, just because I don't know where he fits. Broadhead can play out wide. Jackson can be used in a number of different positions. I agree with everything. I think Rich was talking about it the other day. Everyone's been saying the same thing. He can't play through the middle on his own. But McKenna likes him in those wide positions in certain games. And I just think with Kyle Edwards, we saw, October time? He really showed us what he can do in certain moments. But then he was given starts and he didn't really grasp his opportunity. And look, I like him. He's got an infectious personality. He's a nice guy. Clearly got a lot of ability. But I just don't see where he fits in now with these new additions and potentially rumoured further additions. Someone's going to have to make way. And I just think Kyle Edwards is maybe at a bit of a crossroads. I wouldn't be surprised if he moved on loan somewhere this January.
For me, I think you're possibly right there. I've often said I don't like there being 2 defenders on the bench. For me, 1 drops out. That would probably be Keogh, just because I think if JD is fit, he can play centrally. I think Leif Davis at a pinch, and this is pinch duty, if someone goes down injured, can play centrally. So that'd be Keogh coming off Broadhead coming on, insert whoever you want, then for me it'd be Aluko and Jackson, because Aluko, you've got Harness and Chaplin who can play centrally, Hurst coming in. And if I really wanted Massimo Luongo on the bench, which with Humphreys you don't need to, then obviously I'd be looking at Caden Jackson. But that, I suppose the last position would be Aluko. Do I want Luongo on the bench, Alex? If I do, Aluko drops out, Luongo comes onto the bench. If I don't feel I need Massimo because I've got Humphreys, then Aluko takes that position. But it's a lot better in terms of what you can do off the bench with those players, isn't it? You've suddenly got a lot more options.
I think Humphreys, based on what he's shown, is worthy of keeping his place on the bench. Absolutely. I think for me, I would personally drop Luongo out and have Luongo on the bench, just purely because I can see it being quite a physical game where we could potentially get an injury. So just having that sort of calm and influence in Luongo might be, and plus I think he's slightly younger than Aluko as well. So I would tend to go with, if you had to give me Aluko or Luongo, I would personally go with Luongo. I think just because I think he can be that one that can sort of just come in and sit and mop up if we need him to do that.
Who's your front four then for the weekend? Because I've seen the Twitter poll by Cruncher. Too many initials there for my small brain. I couldn't compute what the fuck was going on. It was like learning algebra at school. Every time I thought I'd got the code, I've got 3 lines down and thought, Christ, who is it? Who are these? So I didn't bother voting. Who's your front four for the weekend then? Lewis, I'll ask you first.
So I would go.
Oh, Alex. Go on.
Taylor Depot.
Right. Big Fred up front. Yeah.
Nathan Broadhead.
Where?
Left.
Okay.
So you've got Chaplin.
Yeah. And
we need one more, don't we?
Wesley, surely.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you're bringing Broadhead straight in for the start on the position that Harness or Edwards would normally occupy. Lewis.
So
how are you going?
On the left, I would start by I'd recall Matt Penny. No, I'm joking. No, I'd actually go and I looked at all the initials, and the initials I'd thought of on Cruncher's poll weren't quite aligned with what Alex has just said. So
many initials, couldn't do it.
I wrote that exact front four in the comments section, that I'd have Broadhead on the left, Chaplin behind Ladapo, and Burns on the right.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I do think we're trying to, and I might be completely wrong, I haven't seen him play, but I think we're trying to just sort of pigeon Broadhead into the starting 11, because and looking at Ladapo and saying he's played well last couple of weeks, it would be unfair to take him out and put Broadhead in there. So that where can I play him? Well, I can't drop Wes, I can't drop Chaplin. De facto is position left, a bit like Paul Scholes in the Sven-Goran Eriksson England team. But it's what it feels like to me looking at it, because I think you're right in the sense of Ladapo. Ladapo's played well. He's got the goals. He's not always had the success in front of goal we've all wanted. He could have had a lot more, but he has got a decent return. I wonder if this had been 3 weeks ago, whether Broadhead would have started up front for a lot of fans, because Ladapo was in the middle of the period where people go, perhaps you need a striker, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. So for me, on that respects, none of them start on Saturday. It's Ladapo up the front, Harness, who has a great season by all, by looking at the statistical measures that a position that he plays features in. Obviously, a big money signing himself. Chaplin and Burns. You stick with the four that have got the understanding, the knowledge that where each other's going to be, and then you sprinkle in the delightful impacts of Broadhead. Maybe a different question to ask Plymouth's back line at 60, 65, 70 minutes. Then you bring on George Hurst off a wing, maybe Wesley's wing, where it's another different question. Then you're looking Massimo. Maybe that's maybe one of the signings where you think it's injury only. But certainly, I'd start with the four. I've done it for us so far. We're not short of scoring goals. We expected goals we top it. We top the league for scoring them. It ain't really scoring them that's been the issue. It's been how we then pose teams different questions. So I'd be tempted to play on my new toys, but I probably would leave them on the bench.
But with your formation, if come 2 o'clock on Saturday, that is the lineup. Harness is playing off the left. I have no problem with that. But players now are under pressure, aren't they? So these new signings, to a certain degree, yes, we all hope they hit the ground running. I expect Broadhead to score goals. I expect Hurst to make an impact, being that physical presence in the box. I expect Luongo to have that experience, hopefully that calmness, be able to fill in if needed. But if we go with your prospective starting lineup and it gets the best out of Harness, it drives the Dapo on. Now, I don't think Freddie necessarily knew that Hurst and Broadhead were sat in the stands on Saturday. But he had a bloody good game. And, you know, all the talk, he's not daft. He's going to know we were looking at strikers. McKenna pretty much mentioned it in every post-match interview.
Yeah.
If that spurred him on to play as well as he did on Saturday, I've got no problem with that.
No.
Players are under a bit more pressure now, aren't they? That they weren't necessarily
yeah.
under a month ago, because it was, who can we get off their sick beds and put in a blue shirt and put out on the pitch? So it's not always necessarily just the new signings having an impact by them coming into the team. It's them coming in through the door and that hopefully spurring others on to perform. And I think we just have to get behind that. You know, Harness, like rightly say, Broadhead is going to be a great signing, I believe. And he's proven at League One level and he's scoring goals in Championship. But him signing doesn't necessarily mean we should write Harness off. It just means that that's what I would personally go with. You'd personally go with something different. I'm sure people in the chat would say something different. On Cruncher's poll, they'd say something different. It's nice to have those options rather than how many years have we gone, okay, well, we've got to play him there. We've got to play him there. He's out of form, but we haven't got anybody who's anywhere near that level to come in and replace them. Whereas now we have, and that makes such a refreshing difference. And my only kind of final point on the squad for Saturday, I think it's easy to underestimate in that high pressure environment. It's a top of the table clash, big crowd at Portman Road. I think that Aluko will be on the bench, and I think he's a handy option to bring on to have that calmness on the ball. Very rarely does Aluko give it away. I get that people might say, well, where's your assists? Where's your goals? And that's
the issue, isn't it? It's very rarely you get the impact stat.
But if we need to keep the ball, if we're under a bit of pressure, say we're 1-0 up, 2-1 up, we need someone we can bring off the bench for 10 minutes who's going to put their foot on the ball, calm things down, take it into the corners, you know, play sensible passes, move around, win free kicks by getting on the ball, twisting, turning in the centre of the park. Are you looking at someone like Aluko, or are you looking at an Edwards or a Jackson? Because for me, in that situation, I'll be putting Aluko on every time, not because we're chasing a goal, but because we just need to keep the ball. We need to see the game out. And actually, I think that's something we missed when Aluko has been injured. Look, I'm not going to go down the route of discussing stats and things like that. I'm just looking at attributes that players bring. And I think Aluko for this particular game could have a role to play, because I think it would be unfair of us to expect that from Humphreys in that centre of the park if we were in that situation.
Okay. And on Humphreys, does he start for you? Either of you?
No.
Not for Alex. So Evans and Morsey for you too. Lewis?
Doesn't start for me, unfortunately. But he was superb on Saturday. He was absolutely outstanding. And look, no Ipswich Town fan needs me to tell them how mature he was in his interview, how mature he is when he plays the game. He is going to have an incredible future in football, hopefully with Ipswich Town, but in football. I just think that you underestimate by saying, oh, yeah, take Evans out, put Humphreys in. I think you underestimate what Evans can bring to us. I don't think Evans was at his best on Saturday, but him and Morsey are a formidable partnership that time and time again have proven how much we rely upon them when they aren't able to play together. But me saying that Evans and Morsey start is in no way saying that I do not rate Cameron Humphreys and I don't think he's got a hell of a future. And I was thinking, you know, Morsey and Evans aren't going to be around forever, given their respective ages and things like that. And by next year, I genuinely think Cameron Humphreys could be starting every game for us next season, regardless of what division we're in?
I would. Okay, my heart says he would play. He would start for me. My heart says he would play because he was phenomenal on Saturday. He's been phenomenal for the more games than he hasn't been when he's featured for Town. My head, on the other hand, kind of says it would take a very brave manager in a big game at home, massive crowd, to sort of chuck him out and go on in, lad. Because managers normally crave the known, not the unknown. What am I going to get from this player in a big game? Be that a J Tab 6 out of 10 every single week. Be it Caden Jackson, who runs and gives you nothing but workman-like effort. Win, lose or draw. You know that what you're going to get from Caden is effort. Managers love that. They crave that because you haven't got to worry about, what am I going to get? I'm not saying Cam can't do it, but it's a big game. It's a big crowd. It's a capacity crowd. It's going to be a cauldron of an atmosphere. It's going to be all those different things. So I'm looking forward to seeing which one, what the team is and if he is in it or not. But there's no right or wrong answer. It's just, can he? Is he? Will he? Won't he? Can he? Can't he? All those different things. It's one of those exciting things. Ben's not dropping a Luco. Charles says Humphrey's more suited to Championship football. The referee this weekend, by the way, is Andy Woolmer. Refereed more Championship games this year than any other division. 2 red cards I think he's given this year, 33 yellows I think from memory. I did write the notes down, but I've in classic Gov prepared fashion.
I'd be interested on the Humphreys front. Is there anybody who would play him in that front three behind a striker? So you keep Evans and Morsey and play him.
Is there Chaplin? That's the problem, isn't it? Like if Chaplin was ill or injured, yeah, no problem.
But Chaplin's moved over as well. Even Cameron's played out wide. I think about that Charlton game at the end of last year. He came on, didn't he? And he played a great inside pass to Norwood for his goal. I just wondered, I'm just thinking about different scenarios and situations. And look, Cameron Humphreys, I think, can do any role he wants in the team in that midfield. I think he can play deeper and get on the ball. But I also think he's, as he showed in the Lincoln game, he was the one player that got in the box, got his head on the ball and made something happen. I just thinking out loud, I've seen a few people have said they take Evans out of the team. Personally, I wouldn't, but I'm not completely against Humphreys starting. I'm just looking at different scenarios. Who'd be Kieran McKenna, hey?
How many Ed Sheeran songs can you get in one sentence, Retton? Thinking out aloud, photograph in my mind. Look at a little quiz question, that. But yeah, who would be Kieran McKenna? You're absolutely right. I can't find the notes I made earlier about Andy Woolmer. He was a postman. I can remember that. So will he deliver this weekend? Boom. Anyway,
is he going to be on strike? Oh shit!
I've got no problem with him striking. I don't get. The only letters I get are brown anyway. The brown letter envelope ones. So I've got no problem them not putting them through the door. The final demands. So the score, my friends, this weekend. Before we come to our jukebox, what do we think it is going to be, Lewis?
2-0, Ipswich. Gap will be 4 points. We're off and running.
I like your confidence. Alex?
3-1 Ipswich.
I like it. I like it a lot. Gino says Town win 3-0. Colin says 3-0. Somebody put a defeat in there just so I feel better about myself, because otherwise it's going to get a Northampton vibe very quickly. Jukebox entry this week then, gentlemen. What are we going for? Alex, your entry to go against Lewis's is?
So my entry to go against Lewis is 2468 by the Tommy Robertson Band.
Yes. Keep on trucking on through the night. 3, 5, 7, 9.
Those long away days when you're singing on the bus.
Yeah, but we're at home.
Doesn't matter. It's going to be there for the whole season and on the old playlist. So
yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay, all right. I think we had Go West entry for either Plymouth or Exeter, but I'm not sure if it's in the jukebox or not. Lewis, what is your jukebox entry, my man?
I've got two, and I know I need to go with one. I'm I'm going to go for the Beatles. I get by with a little help from my friends, which I think is quite fitting this week. Talking Town, Ben and other situations that have happened. And hopefully that community has rallied around to support people. Obviously, you've got an exciting couple of days ahead of you. So that's on the kind of Talking Town front, all friends in it together. But obviously with the new arrivals, we've had a great first half to the season. We've got reinforcements. We've got some new friends in, and I'm sure we'll get by and go on to promotion.
Okay. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Ain't never too late. Or we've got I get by with a little help from my friends. I'll try with a little help. Not quite in that key or that tune, to be fair, but you get the gist. Get voted in the live poll now, where I read out the last couple of comments. Don't forget the like button, subscribe, become a Talking Town 5th Standard today by hitting the join button on YouTube. We're heading to Kofi. Kofi, you can sign up via your PayPal. YouTube, I think it's card, but I don't know because I've not subscribed to myself.
Just before you read out the last couple of comments, on behalf of everyone at Talking Town and everyone that you've sort of, built this amazing platform that we're all here for on a weekly basis, from everyone in the chat, from all the contributors, all the absolute very best to you and Mrs. Lambert in the coming days, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
Hear, hear.
Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. I really do. Honestly, thanks ever so much. And there was talk of the induction being moved to a Saturday, but I'm pleased to tell you, boys, I shut that down instantly. I said, not a chance. Because there's the Plymouth, big game on Saturday. Gov's got to be there. The cameras have got to be rolling. We had a conversation, and in the end,
I won't tell you then that my wife had an induction when our daughter was born, and it took 72 hours. I better not mention that.
How many hours away? Hang on, let me just look at the YouTube because I've just scheduled the shows. I think I don't know. That's 72 hours.
I've got a lot of Football Manager done. Don't tell her that.
Yeah, but I haven't got a laptop. So I can't play Football Manager. And it's like the big desktop down at the hospital tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Desktop.
Where can I put this, please? Can you imagine it? Baby names: Caden, Aaron, Jonathan, Douglas, Drinnen. No.
Penny?
No.
Is it girl or is it definitely a boy?
I know what we're having, but I'm not allowed to say. So
okay, no, I couldn't remember if you'd revealed the sex. So
I might have done inadvertently. If people have been paying attention, I may have done, because I have been talking about the baby. One
of my daughter's dolls is called Penny, and the other's called Didsy. So I won't say who had influence over that.
Parenting done right. I mean, if it's a boy, odds are heavily in favour of Paul. I'm going to be honest.
Paul Lambert.
We all know the reason why. Oh, how the king. AD says, make the most of your sleep time tonight. Yes, that's why I'm trying to. That's why when these two lads were so beautifully and expertly discussing the Cambridge ticket debacle, I was thinking inside, please hurry up. Guys, got to get to sleep in a minute. Guys, never going to sleep again. Please hurry up. Please. But I love listening to you all the same. See, Drennan Lambert. It's not happening. Unless she pulls a surprise on me, which I don't know. Matt's done. Increase the odds of them being a future Ipswich town manager and a Norwich City Hall of Famer. Then again, maybe I won't call him Paul. Who knows? Right, we're done. We are dusted. The winner of the poll is Lewis by a 10% margin, but it's still a win. A win is a win. You will have to go again, Alex. It's your first defeat, and hopefully only your defeat of this weekend.
If you'd offered me that before the pod, I wouldn't have even got off the bus.
And on that note, thanks for watching. Thanks for your kind words, your well wishes. Baby. You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair.